Hey, welcome back everybody. Brother Kimo here with Reload Hawaii. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. Tonight we're going to be talking about some American wood, more specifically the 1903 Springfield, which is this guy right here, and the 1903 Springfield A3. They're pretty similar, but with one major difference that we're going to go over, and maybe at the ending of the video, you'll know which one of these awesome military surplus rifles you'd like to pick up. Okay guys, before we get cranking, I just want to point out some differences in the rifles before we get started so you can kind of see as I'm panning through what to look for. These are both similar stocks. This is not the pistol grip version. You're going to notice finger grooves here on the side of the stock, as well as the upper handguard is a little bit different because the sights are different, as well as the upper barrel band with this hole in here. And you're going to notice the front sights are pinned up a little bit differently. So as I'm panning through these, you can kind of see which one you might like. And of course, nothing ever takes the place of hanging on one of these and smelling the good old American wood. Special shout out goes to Bushmaster 55 for lending me his 1903 A3 Springfield, that one back there. So let's get a look, guys. Let's check them out. Let's rock the similarities. Both shoot 30-06, both have internal 5-round magazines, both are stripper clip fed, or can be. That's an important one, I'll tell you why later. Both have magazine cutoffs, both have 24-inch barrels, both are straight rip-offs of the Mauser action. Both bolts are cocktail open, both bolts have 3 lugs, and the safeties on both rifles are located and work the same on both. Let's get into the differences. The main one for me being the sights. The sights are different. You got milled versus stamp parts. The finish, as you can see, is different on the receivers. And pay attention to the finger grooves and trigger guards, as I was mentioning earlier, because they are very subtle. But let me stop here so I can reposition the rifles. I'll run my camera over and I'll give you some of my opinions on what I think are some interesting facts about both of these rifles. Okay, here's some facts I did not know about the 1903 Springfield. The big one, I didn't know we stole a lot of this design from the Mauser brothers, who are from Germany. That's right, the Germans. In the Spanish-American War, we were using this rifle, the Krag Jorgensen, which is a Norwegian design. It's basically a gate-loaded system. You throw a whole bunch of rounds in there, you close it up, and you hope to God that they're going in the right direction, and you fire. Not the best technique to use in battle conditions. And you know, the Spanish were using a Mauser variant, the Spanish Mauser. I think it was M93 is what the thing is called. And they were using a 7mm round. And we say, hey, you know what? Those guys are handing it to us. Let's copy that design. We did it without asking the Germans. We did it without asking the Mauser brothers. So during World War I, we were paying them royalties because they sued us for copying their design. And we took the stripper clip design, the internal magazine system, and most importantly, the bolt system, which is a strong as hell, still used in rifles today. And we took it. We used 30-06. The regular Krag bolt could not handle the 30-06, so we copied the Mauser design, and that's what's happening with that. So those are two things that I found interesting. The last one is a small thing, but right here in the very front, you see a little swivel there. That's not a rifles thing, it is a stacking swivel, and that's how they made those cool little tripod, and sometimes they stack more rifles together that you see in the movies. Okay, I'm going to talk about the clip system, the magazine cutoff, and then get into the sights, and then we'll get into like the weight and accuracy and all that other stuff. Let's get it going. Okay guys, before going over the sights on both rifles, what I really wanted to do was talk about the back end here, the controls, you know, like the magazine cutoff switch, the bolt, the safety, and then we'll go talk about the sights. But just really quickly here, let me start with the magazine cutoff switch. This thing is really interesting. So when it's in its off position like this, watch what happens when I try to slide this back here. Okay, so it stops right like this. Now, if you try to load using stripper clips here, this is a stripper clips from Creedmoor. These are super good. You're gonna notice that the bolt is blocking here, so you cannot load this way, and it also, as I'm going to show you a little bit later, will not pick up rounds from the internal magazine. So you can load one at a time. This was done to save ammunition during combat times when you're just totally banging away. So, but notice what happens if you just kind of kick it to the on position. The bolt will be able to slide all the way back, and now you're going to be able to utilize, you know, loading from stripper clips like this. So these are from Creedmoor. They're spring loaded. These are the modern take on a old classic, but the spring retention really helps. They're a lot more robust. The tabs don't break off. And how you load it? Well, you basically just take this and you're going to stuff it right down in this area like that, and you push them home. Let me get more in back of it. Just like this. And you remove your clip. This is a clip, not a magazine. That's what a clip looks like. And basically what you're gonna do now is, because it's on the on position, you're gonna be loading it just like that. But watch what happens when you get it to the off position. So I'm gonna kick this round out. Okay. Now you're gonna notice that it doesn't pick it up. So that's meant to load one at a time, fire, load one at a time, fire, again to save ammunition. When things get thick, you switch it to the on position. Now the kind of medium position 2, I guess they call it, or neutral position, right in the middle here. This will make it so that you can take the bolt out this way. And since we got the bolt out, let's talk about the bolt here. So here is the Mauser bolt. You got 2 locking lugs in the front that will fit into the receiver and twist, and you have your locking lug back here. And this guy's gonna lock right into this area here. In fact, let me just see what I can do about moving this rifle around so we can see at least the front end of the receiver. Okay, this guy right here. So as you're pushing it home, you're gonna twist it. These things are gonna lock in here, and the safety lug back here is gonna lock right back in here. So have a look, let's see. All right, I have to push this down so it can go in. Slide, you can see these things are gonna go right up in there. And there's that safety lug that pushes it right down in here. It's resting right against this area here. It makes a very, very strong action. The safety is pretty self-explanatory. This guy back here, when the bolt is cocked, basically to the left is going to be ready, to the right is going to be safe. It totally disengages the trigger. Now, when the rifle is in the on position, here's something that I thought was pretty cool, and this works on both the 1903 and the 1903A, is you can actually decock it, where you just kind of yank this thing back like this and pull. And the last thing I wanted to cover back here is that this is a cock to open, so you're going to notice when I pull the bolt arm up, it goes back. Some are cocked closed. This is cocked to open. Nothing like cocked. Oh my God. Anyway, that's that. Let's go talk about these sights, because everybody's always asking questions about the 1903 and the 1903A sights. Let's go look. All right, there's a look at the 1903 rear sight. It's a leaf/ladder sight. Beautifully done. Here's a page right out of the U.S. Army Field Manual. So the page on the left is the 1903 sight. The page on the right is the 1903A3 sight. I thought I could figure it out. No way, there's 5 different ways you can use it. So here you go, number 1 on the top, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I didn't have the U-notch on the top, but some do. But look at that little tiny peephole number 5 there. You try picking up that bladed front sight. It is hard to do. Windage knob at the top, elevation on the bottom. Basically, you just loosen it, you slide it up and down the leaf. That's how you adjust for elevation. But man, because that front sight is so bladed, you can really drill it down accurately to where you want to go, but it's hard to pick up. Even with this battle sight here, this U-notch here with the sights folded down, hard to pick up their front sight, man. Really, really, really hard. Here's what the windage adjustment looks like. A little bit of turn gives you a real good adjustment, so be careful. They recommend going past your target adjustment and going back to make sure that it adjusts good. Here's a 1903A3 windage adjustment, and there is your 1903A3 elevation from 200 yards to 800. I really had to hold low because the rifle is at minimum is sighted to 200 yards. So here we go. Here's the overall weight of both rifles. Mine weighed in at about 8.15 pounds. Bushmaster 55's rifle came in at 8.6, 8.7 pounds, whatever. My rifle, the 1903, just happened to have a lighter trigger, 3.35 pounds. His came in at 4.12 pounds. Here's what I got at 50 yards. Again, mine's on the left, his is on the right at 50 yards. And here is what I got at 100 yards. Again, the 1903 on the left and the 1903A3 at the right. Okay, on to some closing thoughts and things that I missed in the actual video. First of all, guys, just want to say that the targets are not representative of how accurate these rifles are. Apologies to the civilian marksmanship program guys that have tournaments based on this platform. I get it. I'm just not a good enough shooter or marksman to just pick up a rifle and start shooting away. I mean, iron sights for me, really rough. I'm used to shooting with magnified optics, and 30-06 for me is a pretty big round. And I just don't have enough time and dedication to, put on 30-06. It's really expensive. If I'm going to shoot something in the 30 cal area, I'm going to shoot 308 with the magnified optic. But guys, just know that it's capable of doing way better. And the CMP guys are like, man, that guy sucks. I am, guys. I get it. Second, you guys saw me shooting off of a sled in the beginning montage. I chucked that idea. I thought it was going to be super easy, right? You get the sled, rifle, put them together, weight them down, secure it, make sure it doesn't move around. My groupings are all over the place, so I chucked that idea. I kept the front portion of the sled, used a rear squeeze bag, and that's the accuracy results you see there. Second, the two rifles. Mine, the 1903 is made by Rock Island Armory. The one Bushmaster 55 lent me, the 1903 A3 is out of the Remington factory. Going on to the next point, which one do I like better? Physically, I think the 1903 is a better looking rifle. You can tell it took more time to make. The sights are very beautiful, even though they're harder to use. If you can learn how to use those, you know, you're gonna have a beautiful, very functional rifle. You can tell the parts are milled and not stamped like the 1903 A3. And the finger grooves and the stock just give it a really, really nice look, definitely more detailed. Now, if you're gonna ask me which one I would use if I was going to war as a young man, I would pick the 1903 A3 because the rear sights are very easy to use. It doesn't take a lot of, you know, figuring in your brain. And, you know, in combat situations where limbs are flying all over the place, people are getting stabbed by bayonets. Oh, the bayonet on this thing is crazy. I'll see if I can slide in a picture here. But in those situations, under high stress, I would pick the 1903 A3. You know, it occurred to me, I was watching Nut and Fancy's video, and I was watching him twirl it around because apparently he was in a drill team or honor guard. It brought me back to when I was little and I used to watch the King's Guard out here. These guys are spinning these 8-pound rifles around like they're toothpicks, man. It's pretty impressive. And I know they're modified a little bit, but you got to go watch Nut and Fancy spin the rifle in his 1903 video. It's pretty impressive, but yeah, it came to mind like, man, these guys must get beat up and bruised all the time. Lastly, I just want to bring up the low serial number issue with the Springfields for the 1903, not the 1903A. If you're going to get one, make sure that your serial number is above 800,000. If you're getting a Rock Island Armory 1903, the CMP gives an exact serial number of 285,507. So again, to be safe, if you're going to get a 1903 Springfield from the Springfield factory, I would get a serial number at least about 1 million. And if you're going to get a 1903 Springfield from the Rock Island Armory factory, get one that's 300,000 and above. Anything lower than those numbers, the receivers and bolts were single heat treated. They are prone to cracking and potentially being dangerous. And there's some arguments online and in fact, you know, person to person, oh, it doesn't matter, it does matter. I say be safe and go above those serial numbers and you will find yourself extremely happy, just like I was doing this review. And guys, it's over. That's all I got for you. It's been a super fun video to do for you guys. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. If you liked the video, give me the thumbs up. And as always, I will catch you guys later.